Welcome to the Wild Type Podcast. I'm Neptune the Chameleon.
I'm Lyssa Silzards.
And we're your reptile girlies. So usually we like to start out with like fun, exciting news.
Yes.
Which we have coming later, but we lost a baby.
And I literally just found out 2 minutes ago, and I'm really sad about it.
Baby 12.
Baby 12.
So now we're down to 10. Yeah.
That's sad. And literally my first reaction when you said that was like, damn, really, like nobody talks about this part of it.
I know. And I reached out to my...
I'm starting to like understand why.
Well, yes, because it's sad.
'Cause there's a lot of death.
Yes.
In the breeding world. All this is doing also is convincing
Just solidifying
me.
that
that I will never do this.
This is not your thing.
Yeah.
No, I get that. No, it's super, super hard.
But it's also incredibly rewarding, and you've got a whole bunch of amazing, healthy, wonderful
and the
babies.
second clutch, all is still looking very good.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they do. But yeah, keeping you guys along for the ride. Baby 12, we'll call them 12th to hatch out. It was the last one to hatch out. And it was just getting like really skinny, and it was eating and had its eyes closed initially, and like no way for me to know what was wrong with it. But it was getting a little skinnier, and then I noticed its eyes were closed, and then it just wasn't eating as much as the other babies.
Yeah.
And then within a day or two, it just passed. So
I hate that.
it's actually the first time that I've come into my room and like found one of my animals deceased.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I've been there and it's not fun.
I've actually, I don't know, kind of like messed up, but like had the honor of like euthanizing all of my reptiles up to this point. So that was a first for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just sad. We talked about this briefly in like the oddities kind of, but just like deceased reptiles are just really
hard to look at,
morbid looking. And they don't embody the like life of what they looked like when they were alive.
I'm deciding if I should rephrase what just was said in my brain. It literally looks like the life's been sucked out of them.
Yes.
Like, that's what it looks like. And I hate to say that, and that's, like, really crude, and I don't like that that's the explanation that popped into my brain, but that's what it looks like.
It is. And this was, like, miniature.
I don't like it.
Just giving you guys updates.
Yeah.
We will just kind of brush past that.
Move along to more fun stuff.
Also, baby updates. So I'm, like, making my own fruit fly cultures.
Which is fascinating and interesting and a whole different...
Did you watch my video I did?
Yes.
Very ASMR-y.
Yes. It was fabulous.
I knew you would appreciate.
I love a good ASMR touch.
It took a lot of time to edit that, but I think it turned out well, and it's doing well in views and such. But anyways, I'm making my own fruit fly cultures, and so the way you start a culture is you have to put existing flies in there.
Yeah.
And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go check out my video on like...
Yeah.
But basically...
It's a cool video. You want to see it.
Thank you. Yes. Basically create like this paste at the bottom, put a little excelsior for the flies to climb on, but you have to put adult flies in there to then breed and create new flies. So you take an existing culture, open it up, dump some flies in there, and then wait about 2 weeks for the new culture to pick up and get going. Yeah. Well, while filming, as you know, you're like filming and trying to do stuff at the same time. So I didn't fully close the lid on my culture that does have a bunch of flies in it.
Oh no.
So I finish filming, I look up, and there's fruit flies everywhere.
That's actually my nightmare.
All over my kitchen. Crawling.
We're just going full ASMR now.
It was like it was a lot of flies.
Wait,
and
so
I can't catch them.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what do you do?
Because if you try and grab them, you basically squish them because they're so little.
Yeah, you can't.
So I kind of tried to corral them in the cup and like put the... There's escapees though. There's fruit flies everywhere in my house.
No.
In my house. There were already. And I did pick up our carnivorous plant from the Audience Expo. It is not doing its job because there are fruit flies everywhere.
Man. So sad news to annoyed news.
This is where we're at. But no, it just kind of made me chuckle because totally user error. Like that was totally my bad. I did not seal the lid and all the flies were like, freedom. and then probably saw my old banana on the countertop and was like, this is the best.
Oh yeah. They're like, we have a full buffet going on over here.
I'm like, man. So
like, great.
Anyways, those are my baby updates. But you have some updates. You were just traveling.
I was, and I feel like I've said this before, but just in case the Reptile Girlies don't know, if my hair is up, that is an indicator that it's been a week. Okay.
It's true. My hair was up before this, so if that says anything.
No, I have like a complex about my hair being up. I think because I have such like naturally stick straight hair that when my hair's up, it has no volume. Like when your hair's up, it looks like still looks full and nice. When my hair's up, I feel like I look bald. So I hate wearing my hair up. I've finally gotten to the point where I like love the claw clips, which is great, but like it's been a travel week. I was
what? You know what I learned about claw clips?
What?
Claw clips.
You can't drive with them?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Literally, my mom told me that yesterday. And I was like, so you know what I had to do on the way to work today? Not wear a claw clip in my hair.
Yeah, and you know what I'm about to say that is not going to surprise you in the slightest?
You don't care.
Yeah.
I knew that. I wasn't saying it for your benefit. I was saying it for everyone listening.
Yes.
It was like, So the thing is, like, if you wear a claw clip while driving and you get an accident, then that can like smush into your head.
It like can literally like it's smushed into people's skulls.
Yeah.
So
I have not gone my way to look up the pictures. I have my own imagination.
I've looked. It's not cool.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to decide how much I cared.
So I did not, but then out of habit, I drove home from work with it in because I forgot that it was in there in the first place. So.
You just forget. You just forget. It just happens.
So take it with a grain of salt.
Yes.
If you wear a claw clip, decide for yourself. If you want to wear it while driving, just be conscious.
In my defense, I try not to, but if I have to get in the car, I'm just saying screw it. So it's like I try to only wear my hair up when I like don't have much to do or much places to go. But anyway, it's been a week. Continue. I traveled a lot. I was in LA for a client thing, which was actually like really, really cool. We had this like really cool like celebrity makeup artist like event, which was so much fun. So that was amazing. But I did a day trip. I did a 24-hour trip to LA, which was a lot.
Yes.
That was a lot.
And then
the next morning, so I like get back from LA at like 12:30 a.m. I left at like 7 a.m., get back at 12:30 a.m. The next day at 3 p.m., I then go on a family trip to Colorado, which was equally as fun and amazing. And so, but it was just like
a lot.
It's a lot. And like, I deeply wish that I was one of those people that like loved to travel, but I don't.
I think you enjoy
the trip
when you're there.
Yes.
It's just the before and after.
The before and after. Like, I'm not somebody that can seamlessly be like, oh, I'm back now and everything's fine. It's like, no, I need like a week to recover.
Yeah.
So anywho, that's why my hair is up today. So. Yeah, which I don't get. So that's why my hair is up. But while we were in Colorado, we got to see the Seven Falls, which is this like insane waterfall.
Oh,
it was
cool.
Gorgeous. And so Logan and I went and hiked. We did some zip lines across the gorge. We ziplined.
I saw the videos.
I think I actually posted it on my story today, on my Lyssa Lizard story. But we ziplined 150 feet above a gorge.
I see you guys doing this, and I'm like, would I do that? I'm like, I don't know.
Well, my sister-in-law did come with us, and she was very nervous, but she did great. And I was like so proud of her because it was totally out of her comfort zone. Yeah. It did great. I grew up like ziplining at my like summer camp. So
This was not summer camp ziplining.
No, it was not. No, it was not. I've also ziplined upside down in Costa Rica.
This is like legit stuff. Yeah.
But
no, I don't do well with like ropes courses.
Yeah, that's
things
fair.
that are like wobbly up high. Like it's not a heights issue. It's the wobbliness and like the harness thing that kind of freaks me out. Right. So ziplining is like in that realm, kind of. But
I will say, for anybody who ever has any desire to go ziplining, like truly the first time you go and you see like all the safety precautions and all the like backup brakes that they have and like all this stuff, it is
that's what
so
makes
safe.
Me feel better.
It's literally so safe. Like, and all the like, I'm not allowed to like move my hand a certain way until they clip something in. You're clipped in on one side until you get clipped in on the line, and that's like there's always like 3 steps of precaution.
I need
so
that.
It's like. It truly, and like they have a backup brake so that like it's truly very, very safe. Okay. So just if it makes you feel any better. But
that does make me feel much better.
Good. But so while we were up there, the way the zip line worked, after we did the zip line, we still had to hike down the falls. So it was like the zip line was so high up, but then the like hike down, we still had to go down. And so while we were doing that, we were running into like the creek bed that feeds into the falls, which was super cool. Yep. So I was flipping over rocks and looking for stuff.
Did you find anything?
I only found like millipedes and worms. So we didn't find it.
I mean, we love a good worm.
I know, but I was like looking for like a frog or a salamander or something. I don't even know if Colorado has them. I was just looking.
Speaking of worms and claw clips, we should coordinate a day where you can wear your worm claw clip and I can wear my chameleon claw clip.
He's so cute. I love him.
I almost wore it today, but I was like, I gotta save him.
Yeah, no, he's good. But I did see him in your video.
Yes. Everyone keeps asking me about it. It's very cute. You'll see.
You'll
see. We'll do a podcast episode and we'll strategically turn our heads.
We'll let you see them. Yeah.
See the claw clips. But okay, so millipedes, worms.
Just millipedes and worms, some beetles, some ants. Okay. You know, just kind of, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the bugs too. I'm a bug girl at heart. I like looking at the bugs, but I was hoping for like a salamander or something and I didn't find any.
Dang. Next time.
Well,
so this is a good segue. Speaking of tiny little bugs, so me and the guy I'm dating, which I just need to say, no one commented, not a single one of you, not on Spotify, not on YouTube, about the fact that I announced that I was dating someone.
I didn't even notice that. Oh my gosh.
Because no one said anything.
Yeah, I would have noticed if someone said anything.
Do you guys not realize I've been single for 5 years? This is a big deal. Okay? So I expected a little bit of like, woo.
Everybody please tell her that you're excited for her.
I was like, not a single person.
Oh my gosh, I'm dead. I didn't even realize. But that's because I would have noticed if somebody said something.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
If you guys don't care, that's fine. Don't give me your pity comments. But anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, the guy that I'm dating, he's wanting to like add some plants to his balcony. And I was like, this is my love language.
Oh, this is absolutely up your alley.
This is my love language. I'm trying so hard. I'm like, I will only offer advice if asked, right? I don't need to like
You're very conscious of that, and I think that's great.
Don't need to impose my opinions. Anyway, so we go to like Home Depot just to like go through, and I'm like full nerd. I'm like, that's a this and that's a this and that's a this. Yeah. I was like, these are easy, these are hard, blah blah blah. He finally picks one out, right? And I was like, okay, you gotta pick it out and you gotta put it in the middle of the aisle by itself to like thoroughly inspect it, because when they're all clumped together, you can't really tell, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's got a little crispy leaf over here, fine. And then I was like, let's look closer on the stems. And what do I find?
Our foe.
My arch nemesis.
Our arch nemesis.
A mealybug. And I was like, and I was equally, proud that I found it, because I was like a needle in the haystack.
But also horrified, because now we have to leave. Now we have to go.
I was like, and we can't just not get this plant. We can't get any plant.
Yeah.
This is like the Home Depot closest to him. And I was like, well, now you just can't trust them.
Yeah. You can't ever go back.
That's kind of how I feel.
You have to leave and never go back.
Because what if they're in the soil?
Boycotting that Home Depot. They are probably in the soil.
Even if you don't see them on the plant itself.
I have half a mind to notify the internet of which location, frankly.
Attention, everyone.
Although, let's be real, it's probably all Home Depots.
Yeah. So. Anyways, and he's like, oh, those are really, because he's heard my saga of like the mealybugs, and he's like, I can't get any of these, can I? And I was like,
for him. You didn't even have to tell him.
And I was like, absolutely not. Nope. So then he went off on his own to like an actual nursery and like, peruse. He hasn't picked anything out yet, but he's still doing his research. But anyways, I was like equally proud of myself for catching that, because but I also feel like he would have just had it on his balcony, and you could have treated the one plant by itself.
Like, it's not like he was bringing it into like our situation.
Yes,
right?
Which is different.
Like,
but
we have to be extra careful.
But he's a new plant person. Yeah. So like, I'm like,
you want to start him off
up
strong
for success.
Yeah, you want to start him off strong. And not
have to start treating your plants for mealybugs from like, that's not worth it.
That would suck. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I was just like very like proud of myself, but also like, we must leave.
Yes, we must immediately go. Immediately.
Yes.
Oh man.
Good times.
Whew. Yeah. If I don't know how I would react. I would probably immediately go tell the store employee. Be like, you have a problem on your hands.
You're like, this piece of fuzz? I'm like, that is not fuzz.
Sir.
That is not fuzz.
That is a demon, actually.
I'll tell you what, right now, looks like fuzz. It's deceiving.
Demon straight from hell.
Don't be Don't be deterred. Anyways, okay, so put that aside. We do have topics.
We do.
For this episode. We asked you guys Q&A on Instagram, and we love doing these of getting, like, we obviously have our list of topics and ideas that we'll work our way through, but
it's helpful to get them from you guys.
No, and we want to make sure that we're talking about things that you guys are actually interested in.
Our topics, you guys could be like, I don't care.
You could also not care about these two, but at least there's one person who does care.
Asked. Yeah, exactly.
Who does care. So someone was asking for tips on friendship breakups.
Yeah, those are super fun.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And one could argue, like, I don't know, is it harder, the same? We can get into it, of like a romantic breakup?
Sometimes it can be. Sometimes it can be.
And my brain works this way. And I was like, okay, how can we strategically, like, talk about this?
Yeah. No, she told me this on the phone. And I was like, I'm obsessed with your brain. Like, it just defaults. Her brain just defaults to, like, organizing my thoughts. And it's beautiful.
So we have 3 categories coming out of this. 1, the friendship breakups that just kind of slowly fade away. It's mutual.
Yeah.
You just kind of grow some distance and ultimately kind of separate.
Realistically, I think that, and this is as I've gotten older, I personally am someone that, like, I genuinely don't have that many friendship breakups in my lifetime because I am somebody that, like, refuses to let friends go.
Yeah. Same.
To
a fault for me sometimes, but
same, dude. Because this is what I was about to say. I think that the natural fade friendship breakups, those are meant to happen. I think that as you get older, now that I'm, like, getting closer to, like, my mid-30s, right? Like, I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, like, I loved that friendship. I cherished that friendship. It was so important for me at, like, those certain, like, adolescent years or during college or, like, after college or, like, when I, moved to my city.
Chapters.
Yeah. Like, it's like friendships serve such an incredible purpose, but this is so cliche and I hate that I'm even saying this, but, like, I've always heard that, like, there's friendships for, like, a lifetime, a season, or, like, a moment or something. Mm-hmm. Like, I forget what the saying is. It's something along those lines.
Yeah, I'm sure.
A reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. And so, like, I just think that's very true. Like, as you get older, there are friendships that should naturally fade, but that doesn't mean it's not hard or, like, deeply uncomfortable or sad.
And I've experienced, like, loss in my life. And I think as a result of that, I have a tendency to, like, hold on to things out of fear of, like, losing
the person,
people, right? Especially if it's something that I feel like I can control. Totally. And if you're in a friendship, and it should be, give or take, right, like 50-50. So you feel like you have a part in that versus like death or loss, you don't have any control on that, right? Yeah. At least with friendships, you're like, no, I can make this work. I can keep this person.
You can, like, work on fixing things. You can work on, like, adjusting your conversations or, like, whatever. Like, there are steps that you can take to, like, work on those friendships.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it can be really hard, but I had to come to the terms with, like, not all friendships are meant to last forever.
Exactly. Yes.
And the reality is very few will last
very few
forever, right? Like, the people who have been friends since they were, like, in kindergarten and like are old.
That's very rare.
Like, what a cool experience, but, like, that's the minority, not the majority. And most people do have friends for different seasons and different chapters. And earlier in your life, in your teens, you were a completely different person.
Oh, God,
in your early 20s, then your mid-20s, then your late 20s, then your 30s.
Yeah.
In school, early in career, later into your career.
You go through different, like, versions of yourself.
When you're dating, when you're married, when you're having kids. Like, there's all these different life stages.
Yeah.
And it's hard when those no longer align with your friends.
Yep.
Now, sometimes you have instances where, like, who you are as your core is the same, regardless if all those other factors change. But a lot of times we have friendships based off of things we have in common. Yeah. And most often it's either a job, life experience, a life event, stage of your life. Those are going to be things that keep you together. And if those shift or change, you have to have something deeper and more than that to keep you, like, solid in that friendship, or it's going to just kind of
naturally fade. And again, like, I think if anything, like, my advice for those situations, it's like, if that is a friendship that is, like, in your opinion, like, worth keeping and you don't want to see it fade, try to make that effort, right? Yes. Like, definitely try. Don't just be like, oh, it's fading, like, let's give up. Like, definitely try. But if you see that, like, it's still just naturally fading, I think there is just, like, a certain level of, like, acceptance and gratitude that you have to have for like what it was.
That season, that chapter.
Yeah. Yep. And be like, okay, like that door's closing. That's not a bad thing. I will always have love for that person. If they ever need me, I'm here, and hopefully vice versa.
Because at that point, you're still friends.
Yes.
You're still rooting for each other. You're just not in the thick of it.
Yeah.
They're not going to be your first phone call, your second phone call, or even your third phone call. They might not even know the day-to-day. They may just get updates from social media at that point, and they're giving you the kudos, they're cheering you on, or it's to the point where they're not even communicating, but you're rooting for them from afar, right? Yep. I have that where like so many years have passed that it'd be really weird if I all of a sudden
randomly reached out.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, when I see them get engaged, when I see them move or like get the new dog or whatever, I'm like, yes.
Right.
Especially when you have the history and like I knew they always wanted to do that thing.
Honestly, and I find those moments to be like very special.
Yes.
I know that's like kind of cheesy, but like I love when that happens because it just like warms your heart and it just makes you feel like, oh, like they finally got what they wanted, or they finally like
the stars aligned, or goal, they made it happen, whatever it was, and knowing that that was important to them and they were at some point very important to you, and still at this point some level of importance to you, like to see them be happy.
Yes.
And we're both like very empathetic people. So then that's going to make us happy. But you can sometimes, the friendships that kind of slowly dissipate though, there is a moment of acceptance.
Yes.
You can fight for it. You can fight for it. You can try. But then you come to a point where you're like, okay,
I think
maybe
it's time.
I'm good. I'm good rooting for you from afar.
Yes.
And that is enough for me.
Totally.
And that's just one type of, and it's not say a breakup, but you are grieving the loss of the friendship that once was.
Yes, 100%. And that, again, like that's not to be said that like you can't like reconnect, like things like that. But I think just realizing that like that was a different time, that was a different life stage, and like we're moving forward, and that doesn't mean it's something lost. It's like
what's really hard for those friendships is when you see them get closer with someone else while simultaneously you're pulling back.
Yeah, totally.
That can be really hard.
That can be really,
because they're like,
that can be a
I
gut
used
punch.
to be that person, and now this person is that person for you. And do you have an equivalent? Do you have someone you can lean on, or do you feel replaced and you don't have someone to lean on while you're going through that? So
that's so hard. That's such like
that
a mixed,
can be really hard.
Weird mixed feelings. Yeah.
Yes.
Ugh.
Okay.
I'm like having all these flashbacks.
Oh, I know. I'm like, which friend was that?
Yeah, which one am I thinking of this time? Yeah.
Scenario 2, you make the choice to end the friendship.
Yes.
This can either be because you have had some own self-discovery, your own seasons have changed, and these friendships are no longer
don't fit in your life
aligning
anymore.
to that. They're no longer adding value, positivity, or stuff hit the fan.
Yeah, there's that
they
too.
Did some things and you're like, that will not be tolerated. And you just have to protect your peace. And you have to know your worth and value, very similar to like a romantic breakup, right?
Totally.
And be like, hey, this is not acceptable. And at this point, this friendship needs to end. But it's your decision.
And I think in those situations, it can be very interesting because you can either be, I think you can go two routes with it if you're the one making the call, right? You can either decide that you're going to like, not necessarily confront, but like let them know and be like, hey,
communicate.
I'm out on this friendship. Like, you know, whatever the case may be, whatever you did to hurt me, whatever you did, like, or like maybe I just don't think you're a good person anymore. I've had that one. And so, you know, it's like you may just have those things. And so you have to kind of decide, like, are you going to communicate that to them, or are you going to try to do the slow fade?
The Homer Simpson in the bush.
Yeah.
Just like,
I'm going to escort myself out of this one. Yeah.
Right. And either that person can pick up on it and it switches to more of a mutual kind of fade like we were originally talking about.
Yes.
Or they're like, wait, but I can change. I'm so
then
sorry.
Then it gets real uncomfortable.
Right? Or they're continuing to invite you to things, right? And you're not reciprocating that. So you're not inviting them to your thing. So you're like...
And that can be really, really hard for those of us who don't like to be the bad guy. That can be really uncomfy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what if the reason is just because, like, you're just two different people now?
Yes.
And you're so grateful and thankful for the time that you had when, again, all those things kind of made sense, either time, place, life, stage, whatever.
And those situations are so hard because, like, what do you say? like you can't really say anything other than just like, we've grown apart. Sorry. Yeah. Like those are so uncomfortable.
It's one of those where like you kind of stop making that effort. Yes, you kind of stop showing up and you hope that they kind of pick up on it so that you, so that sounds so bad. So you don't have to have that explicit conversation. Yeah. However, we are grown-ups.
Yes.
Out of respect for that person, out of respect for the friendship that once was, you owe it to them.
Yeah.
To have that conversation.
If they ask you and if they keep pushing, like, because I'm the type that like I've only experienced this like once or twice, but like I very much am like, I will happily have the conversation with you, but I don't want to hurt you if I don't have to, right? Yes. So like I prefer the attempt of the slow fade when moving away from a friendship, because I don't want to hurt that person and like tell them the truth.
Yeah.
But if they ask, or if they, because a lot of times that can come in the form of, you know, them being like, hey, like, I feel like you're avoiding me, or like, hey, I feel like, you know, you're not reaching out. You keep declining, you know, my invites. Like, you know, hey, like, is something going on? Are you mad at me? Like those questions can arise. And like, if this is a decision that you are consciously making, like you said, you have to do right by them and be honest.
Yep.
And it's really freaking hard.
And you have to recognize the consequences that might come out of that, right? Yes. Where it may blow up and it may be a hard break and it may be like a burnt bridge where you're not going to come back from that. But there's a reason why you're not making the effort. There's a reason why you're not inviting them or seeking out, you know, whatever. Totally. Like your gut is telling you something, even though your memories and past experiences are telling you another. So you're having that conflict. So you kind of have to do some soul searching of like where you stand. We're so excited to introduce the Reptile Girlies to our favorite reptile-friendly coffee and tea brand, Cold Blooded Caffeine. Our favorite thing about them is that they donate 5% of all their proceeds to wildlife conservation to ensure reptiles and amphibians have a place to call home in the wild, as well as in our homes.
And if you know me, you know I'm obsessed with herbal teas. So for any of our fellow tea lovers, they source some of the highest quality loose leaf teas in the world.
Cold-Blooded Caffeine offers a wide variety of coffee like their Rainforest Blend, single origin options, and collaborations with some of the biggest names in the reptile world.
For 25% off your first order, use code WILDTYPE at coldbloodedcaffeine.com. By now you've heard us talk all about Scratches, the social app that helps exotic pet owners like us find their people.
You can add photos of you and all your scaly babies, set your filter to reptiles, and start scrolling through your local pet parents who get it. Think of Scratches as your way of avoiding the ever-looming "so do you have any pets?" question. Whether you're looking for friendship, romance, or someone who can pet sit your critters, your community is just a new match away.
Download Scratches today and start connecting with reptile keepers in your area. Available on iOS and Android. Okay, Neptune, what are your top 2 feeder bugs for all your critters?
Dubious for protein and black soldier fly larvae for lots of calcium.
Simpton offers a wide variety of insects like silkworms, dubia roaches, waxworms, and our favorites, black soldier fly larvae.
I've also heard the entomologists at Simpton have customized the diet of their black soldier fly larvae to maximize their calcium content, so there's no need to dust them with calcium.
So if you're interested in trying them out, use code THEWILDTYPE at SimptonBSF.com for 15% off your order.
Do you sell reptiles? Be sure to check out the Palm Street app, a place where you can have your very own live auctions to help find your reptiles' amazing homes in a community full of thousands of reptile lovers. To apply to be a seller, go to page.palmstreet.app/reptile.
They prioritize ethical breeding and trading practices, ensuring all reptiles on their platform come from responsible sources. Once approved, Palm Street's reptile team will guide you through every step. From setting up your reptile shop to going live for the first time, you'll get hands-on support to sell confidently, safely, and responsibly.
If you're looking for cute reptile merch or swag, don't sleep on Pangea Reptile. They have tons of reptile-themed shirts, stickers, pins, and more.
I just got the cutest pins from them at Tenley. Their Bite Me Tokay Gecko pin is living its best life on my new pin backpack.
I love how soft their shirts are, and I hear they're coming out with lots of new designs soon.
And don't miss Pangea's new Pride merch and sticker sheet to celebrate all month long in June. Head on over to PangeaReptile.com to check them out.
In the instances where I've kind of made a decision to cut off friendships, it typically was where it was no longer being reciprocated, right? Where it felt like it was a very one-sided friendship, and I kept making all this effort.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe they had already made the decision to step back.
Yep.
Or it's been so long that this is how the friendship always was, and I've kind of reached my limit as to how long I can kind of carry the weight.
Yep.
You know?
Just on that note, I've just had, again, having some flashbacks in this conversation, but like, I've actually had the flip side where like a friendship that was always one-sided, like not on my, like I was always making the effort. And then it got flipped later on where like they kind of were coming back to me and I was like, why do you care all of a sudden? Like since when are you like making all this effort? Where was this the last 10 years? You know, like those are weird situations too, where you're kind of like, okay, like it wasn't reciprocated, but now like you're making all this effort. Now I'm like a little off put by that because it's like, where was this energy before? You know, it's like you can even have those situations. Like there's so many things that it can go that way. But sometimes you have to have that conversation.
I do think that's the better
I would
scenario,
agree.
though, because you get, it's at your pace.
Yes. Yeah.
You get to control the narrative. You get to like grieve the loss of the friendship. Very similar to breaking up with someone, right? Home court advantage,
yes.
right? And there's a reason why you're going into it. So like, even if they blew up on you or whatever, like you can still feel good that like you made the right decision and like protecting your peace and where you're putting your time and energy into. Third scenario. They end the friendship with you.
That's rough.
Where it was not your decision, not your control.
I've only had this happen to me one time, and it was awful.
Yeah.
And
same.
Crazy. And in my opinion, still not warranted.
Well, here's the thing, too. Here's the thing, too. If you mess up, that's on you.
Own it.
And you accept the consequences that come with your actions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
That's true of anything.
Yeah. Grow, learn, apply that knowledge.
Right.
Don't
and
make
maybe
the
there's
same
opportunity
mistakes.
where you can apologize, you can grow together, and you can stay friends. There are scenarios where the cut is too deep. Right. And there's no coming back from that. And you just got to own it and recognize this is a cost of whatever. I don't know your situation.
Totally.
Then there's times where it does not feel like you've done anything. And but from the other person's perspective, obviously to them you have because they are hurt, they have feelings, and they are no longer seeing value in this friendship.
And that's valid too. It's just hurtful.
It just sucks.
Yeah.
It just sucks really hard.
Yeah.
Especially when you and we both have felt this, and I know her person, she knows my person, so like we very much
hate her person with a deep fiery passion, but it's fine.
She has a list. There's few people on this list.
I have
this person is on this list.
I think we've made it very clear that I can be a little vindictive sometimes, and I have a very short list of people that I like in the shower or when I'm like having spare time occasionally think like, what would I say to that person if I like ever saw them again? And it's none of it is like, it's not my exes. It's not people that did anything to me.
It's people who have hurt her friends.
It's people who have hurt my friends that I can't wait until I bump into them one day.
Like 20 years from now.
And I get to practice the sentence that I have said in my head because that's how much I care about my friends. And I will verbally mess you up. I can't wait. Anyway.
No, in the instance of like the time where I've experienced like someone cutting off a friendship with me, it could have very easily been a scenario where it was a slow fade.
Yes.
Where it's like, hey, we were friends for like
should have been
a good chunk of time, like 5 years, like things happen. Things happen, life circumstances, whatever. Everything we literally just said about the slow fade. That very much was the trajectory of this friendship. Totally. And I could have very well just like seen it, and I would have been good with that. And I would have been with my little pom-poms, cheering
from
you
afar.
on, you know, but I'm in the nosebleed bleachers, you know, like
but
that would have been.
This person was mean.
No, they went and like blocked me.
Yeah.
There was no communication. The whole thing we said, we're out of respect for the friendship, you should like have an adult conversation. Yeah. Didn't happen.
No.
Just blocked me.
Yep.
So when I went to reach out for their birthday, none of my stuff went through. Couldn't find them on social media. Like literally blocked on everything with zero communication.
And again, here's the thing. Like I understand that some people, their definition of like protecting their peace is to just like cut and run. I get that. Totally get that.
And there's a time and a place where that is appropriate.
Yes.
Where, you have to protect yourself. Sometimes blocking the person truly is the safest, best option.
Yeah. Yes.
However, this was not that situation and very much did not feel warranted.
But like I said, I think it's one of those situations where like, for example, like whenever I've had to like do the slow fade or like whenever I've made the conscious decision of like, this friendship isn't serving me anymore. Like, I do everything I can in those situations to not be mean or hurt their feelings. I think because at a certain point, I loved you. And if I loved you at any point, there's going to be a soft spot in my heart for you forever. I don't care what you've done to me. Like,
sure. I operate the same way.
Unless you hurt my friends. That's different. But if you hurt me, like, I will always have a soft spot regardless. Like, even my exes, like, I have like soft spots for. And so it's like, where I have the problem is when somebody doesn't have that adult conversation, because that's what happened to me. Was I didn't get the conversation. I confronted, because I'm a confrontational person. Shocker. And
she's a communicator.
I am a very big communicator.
That's better than saying confrontational.
Yeah, it's not that I'm confrontational. It's just I'm not afraid of confrontation at all. So it's like, if we have to have a hard conversation, I'm going to bring it up, and that's okay. Like, and I'm not mad. I'm not going to like attack you.
This is why we're good friends.
Yeah. So anyway, like, I like brought it up with the person, and I was like, what have I done? Because you're being mean, you're being passive aggressive. Like, I don't understand, like, what's going on. And they would not tell me what I did. They were like, nothing. I was like, then what changed? What do you mean?
Yes.
So it's like those situations, I think, where you like don't have the answers, or like those can be incredibly hard too. But I just think it always comes down to, like, in your situation and in my situation, like, you are doing the best possible like job in that situation if you are communicating and explaining. And again, if that person doesn't ask, you don't know it to them. But if they are clearly like hurt and like seeking an answer, please give it to them.
Yeah.
Like, and like, that's not what happened in your situation. You just got blocked out of nowhere with no.
Well,
like,
prior to that, they came with a list.
Oh yes, I forgot about the freaking list.
A list of all these things, and like, I don't really want to air this out on the internet.
No.
But it was not handled well at all. And I thought, if you don't want to be friends with me, you don't have to be friends with me. Like,
for sure.
Truly, no hard feelings in that regard.
Along.
However, I just thought it goes back to the respect of like the friendship that once was.
Yes.
At your peak time. And like, this was the friend that like got me through 2020.
Yeah.
Right? Where we're like, we spent so much time together, and like, I felt like I was there for her, and she was there for me. Totally. And like, we really were like, like each other's people through that. And that felt like very special. And like, to honor that friendship of what was like, out of respect for that, I thought that you would like have some sort of communication, be like, hey, I aired out all my dirty laundry. At this point, I just don't think there's like a friendship to be had here. Right. That would have sucked. But at least
you have the answer.
Yes.
Like, at least you have the
versus
answer.
airing out all this dirty laundry and all this and being like, okay, I hear you. Yeah. I understand. Here's what I'm going to be doing. Just need your support as a friend. Right. Like, just let me know if I ever do anything in the future so that we can like grow together. Of course. We've had these conversations, right? And they're like, yep, I'm with you. Then I got blocked. See, so it's like,
and I think those are the things too, just on the topic of like friendships in general, right? Like, I think there are so many millions of different kinds of people in the world. There are people like myself who are more than happy and willing to like communicate through differences, communicate through problems, and try to like make those adjustments. But then there are the types of people who are like, well, I don't really care to do all that. And if they do one or two things that I don't like, I'm just not going to communicate it, because I'd rather move on to a friend that I don't have to communicate those issues with.
And that's your choice?
And that's your prerogative.
That is your choice.
More power to you.
That's not how I operate,
I don't know. That's why we're friends.
That's not how I operate, though. So that just came across like very hurtful. Yeah. Of like this, you don't see value in this friendship to where you would want to like help each other grow and things. Right. And like, there's been times where I've talked with you, I'm like,
same.
Because you're like, hey, you did this thing, not a big fan.
And vice versa. You've done that with me too, because I've definitely said some shit.
Right. And then be like, okay, I hear you. Yeah. I'm not good at that though. Right. Like, that was a growth area. Like, that's really, really hard for me to do. So just like, help me out. If I do that thing, just let me know. And then I'll try it in a way of like, okay, was that better? Yeah. And you're like, yeah, that was. And I was like, yes. And then other times I'll totally slip and I'm like, I did it again, didn't I? And you're like,
which you've actually done that in the moment. Oh, which is one of my favorite things when we'll like catch ourselves sometimes and be like, oh, that was kind of rude. I'm really sorry. Like, I didn't mean to say that to you.
And you're like, yes, it was.
Yeah. And so like, I think that's one thing too, just in friendships, like depending on if you are the type of person that is like, nope, they had one shot and I'm out, that's fine. There are people like that out there who will be your friends that it works out. But then there are other people who like want to work through things and grow together and like make those changes. And like, that's how you and I are. And that's why our friendship works so well, is because anytime we have an issue, we're like, hey.
And it's uncomfortable.
We've had the amount of uncomfy conversations you and I have had. It's uncomfortable. It's crazy.
It doesn't feel good. But the way that I always interpret it is like, okay, but like you see value in this friendship enough to talk about it.
Exactly.
Because if you didn't, you wouldn't say anything in the first place. And then, or you would just like be like, hey, just don't really want to be friends.
Yeah.
Right? And that's true of romantic relationships too, of like communicating and having those tough conversations because you want to grow together. And ultimately, you do see longevity in the friendship. So like, hey, it's worth having this little bit of uncomfy conversation because in the long run, we're both going to be better for it.
Yep, totally.
And so you have to decide for yourself, what do you want your friendships? And you will have some where you are willing and wanting to put in that effort and that time, and others where you're like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are genuine, and that's fine too. Like, again, it really is so nuanced. It like really depends on who you are as a friend and who the other person that you're dealing with is as a friend, because there are so many different types of how people operate in that. Like, friendships are like its own little love language, and you have to like work at it. It's just like a marriage.
But don't you want someone who is invested in your growth? Don't you want someone who's excited for when you have successes? Don't you want someone who's in your corner even when you're not feeling great or things are okay? Like, those are the friends that are worth putting your time into. Totally. And it can be so hard to like take that hit of them ending their friendship or distancing themselves or whatever for the person who's like, hey, tips for friend breakup. My guess is from your little sad face emoji, it wasn't your choice. Right. And so just recognize that like what you put into it, you should also receive.
So realistically, if you weren't receiving that, or if they decided to cut you off, like truly you are better for it, because your love, your energy, your friendship, your time, your effort, all of those things like are so valuable. And if that person didn't see it, someone else will. And like friendships can be so heartbreaking if they don't go the right way, but it's so worth it when you find the people that it does last a really long time and it is worth all that effort. Because like I said, friendships truly can be very marriage-like, where like sometimes you have to have those weird conversations, those hard things. And when you find like our friendship, like we could have stopped being friends multiple times along our journey. There's probably like 3 or 4 different times that either you or I could have been like, I'm out on this. But like, I'm so grateful for where we are now, even like without the podcast, like just where our friendship is today versus where it started is crazy.
Instagram DMs, baby.
Yeah, because like we were kind of like a slow burn, honestly. Like I think it was very much like we met a few times. We're kind of like, all right, there's like, you know, the Chameleon girl and like the girl that, you know, was into snakes and stuff, and we like started kind of like becoming friends, but it was like expo friends, and it was like just in the reptile world and whatever. And then it like slowly became like including each other and each other's friends, other friends, and it was very slow. I would say it took like, we've been friends for what, 7 or 8 years now. Yeah. And like, I would say it was probably around, I would say maybe like 2020 that I was like, yeah, this girl's my friend. Yeah. Like, this is my friend. Like, I would really like her. And it was like, and then that's when it like really, but it was like, it was a slow build. Yeah. And I think that has served us like really well. And I'm so grateful, like looking back on like all the potential times that either you or I could have chosen to like not communicate or not grow or not work on it. Yep. And like, it's so worth it that we did, because like, look at where our friendship is now.
Yes, and like to our cores.
Yes,
we are very similar people. Our values are very similar, which gives me confidence that even though our life circumstances may change, right? All those things we listed off before, but like our meat and potatoes
is solid.
Like very, very similar.
100%.
So then like I foresee like this friendship has a potential to have a lot of longevity and has served itself well. 8 years, right? Yeah. Who you were, who I was 8 years ago, right? Are like
very different human beings.
Very different.
I look back on when did we meet? Was it 2018? Yeah. I think little 2018-year-old me. Oh my God. She was such a problem.
Yes. Same. So wow. I know a lot of you have made comments of like how you admire our friendship and our dynamic, and just know like it takes work. It takes a lot of work, and we've lost friendships over the years, right? And then we have had ones that like are 15, 20 plus year long friendships, right? And then ones that are just starting out this year, right? Where I have some new friends, you have some new friends, right? And growing. And it's just like, that's the beauty of life, friendships, and life in general. So hope this is helpful. Hope you feel a little bit seen, if nothing else, just and don't validated. Feel so alone in that regard.
We all go through friendship breakups, and they're freaking hard and they're awful, but we want to make sure that you feel seen, and hopefully we could give you a little bit of advice on how to handle it or how to approach it if you're the one doing the deed, or like how it's all going to go. So
yes,
it's a weird one.
They always ask ChatGPT. No, I'm just kidding. Just
honestly,
kidding.
Would like to know what ChatGPT would say.
Anyways, okay. So the last question that we got we thought would be fun to talk about was from a fellow content creator.
Yes.
And they were asking for how do you balance screen time when you're a content creator? And this is not just for content creators, okay? This is for a human on planet Earth who has like
we all
a phone and social media.
Every single human being on Earth needs less screen time.
Right.
So
but it's interesting from the perspective of a content creator. And it's even more interesting from your perspective because your day job is social media, your hobby is social media, and you're a human on planet Earth. So you like consuming social media.
Yep. So, when I saw that come through, I literally go, I don't.
And finding the balance. Yeah. So things that I've done, which saying this out loud, have not been successful. Right. But maybe they'll work for you. I took my TikTok and Instagram apps and put them on the back of my phone screens.
Smart.
So I have to scroll all the way to the back to open the apps.
Smart.
However, now I've just built the habit where I go swipe, bink, swipe, bink.
Yeah, that's
so it slowed me down for like a little bit, but now I feel like I need to move them to a different spot on my phone. Maybe like the top of my second screen, just so I like it's out of.
Yeah, that's
now I have the habit. But I tried to like make it so it wasn't on my home page.
Yes.
So then I would just default because I see it, so I click it. Yep. Now I don't see it, but now I'm consciously being like, I'm bored. I'm going to open up my app. So
honestly, for me, like I said, I kind of don't, and that has been a huge issue, and is why
this is not so much advice, but more just like therapy, self-reflection. It's like we've got problems.
It's really bad on my end because like all my clients are social media clients. Like I'm always on either like one of their 5 accounts or one of my 2 or 3 accounts. 3 accounts. I've got 3 different. So it's like I'm always juggling social media at all times, whether I'm consuming it, creating it, or creating it for clients. Like that's literally all I do 24/7. And if I'm being really honest, it's gotten to be like too much, and to where I'm like actively trying to like figure out how to like slow that roll because it is way too much for me. So TBD, we'll see. But like, I just think for me, something that I have recently done was like when we went to the Ren Fair, I was making those little baby dragons, the trinkets to give out. Mm-hmm. And it really got me into like a really good headspace, which is why I was like focused on that for like a week or 2. And like for me, like arts and crafts and things like that have always been like such a really big part of my life, like growing up in childhood and stuff. And as I've gotten older, that kind of stuff has very much gotten replaced with screen time.
Sure.
So like finding little things like that, or even just like working on the reptile room, like stuff like that has been more helpful for me because it is an outlet that like, yes, I'm filming, and yes, like, you know, I'm filming while I'm doing it, like all that good stuff. But like, I'm not on my phone actively scrolling and consuming social media. I'm creating something. And I think like something I've been seeing a lot lately is like create more than you consume in terms of social media. So it's like if you find yourself in like one of those like pitfalls of like scrolling, like all you're doing is consuming. So like get up and go create something, or go like do something, take a walk.
And you can create content as well as like a potential outlet. What I struggle with, and I know other creators do, is like in order to be on top of the trendy stuff, trendy audios, trendy trends, right, that are happening, you have to consume the content. You have to know what the trends are.
In order to know what the trends are.
You have to know what the audios are.
Yes.
And then you can't even just scroll and enjoy because you're like, ooh, how would I make this about reptiles? Ooh, how would I make this about
my client?
My content, right? So you can't just go, ha ha ha, that's cute.
Yeah.
You go, ha ha ha, that's cute. How do I make it my own version?
What strategy does this apply to? Where can I put it in the funnel? Blah, blah,
yes.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Right. So you can't even just scroll to scroll.
That's where I'm at.
Because you're saving audios, you're creating drafts, you're jotting down ideas, you're pinning this, you're doing this,
Copying links, sending them to my clients. Yeah.
Right. Right. So like that also your scroll time is slightly jaded. One thing I do that I did years ago that has really, really helped is I turned off notifications.
I did too. Yes.
I have no notifications turned on, so I don't know if someone likes my stuff. I don't know if someone comments on my stuff.
You used to have them on, and I was like, girl, you gotta turn that off.
Well,
because you gotta turn that off.
I like, and it's one of those things where like, you get the validation and the excitement of like, oh, this post is doing well, whatever. It's not sustainable. No. And it's not good for your mental health. Nope. So now I make the conscious choice. I'm like, okay, I'm going to open up Instagram. I'm going to look to see what my DMs are. I'm going to look to see what the comments are, right? Like whatever it is. And you have to protect your peace. And a lot of times that means turning off your notifications, because then you get to make the conscious choice of when. Because if you get the notification, one, you're going to read it. And then if it's like half of a message,
then you're
going to go check it, because you're like, well, what does that say? Is this important? Right? Like, I'm also thinking of maybe doing like no social media weekends. Yeah. Where like, because I'm like, okay, I work Monday through Friday and I don't work on the weekends. Why am I still working on the weekends?
Yeah.
Right? By doing my content creation. And maybe it's not weekends because those are like peak consumption times, but maybe I pick like a Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. Right? And just be like, okay, these are my 2 days off. Where I'm just not on anything. Social media.
Yeah. That's like kind of where I'm at. I just unfortunately can't because it's my job.
Right.
But that is what I aspire to do.
For most people who are not, that's not their day job. This is their like side hobby, side hustle, in addition to just trying to find the balance.
Take a couple days of break. Like take an off day. Like I just think that's very important.
I think it's hard when you're like told so many times with the algorithm that you have to be consistent, you have to post, you have to respond in a timely manner.
You feel obligated. And you also, this has become my spiral, is like when you don't do that, you feel bad about yourself.
Yes.
And so like as a content creator, that can be really hard.
Like if I heard someone else tell me take 2 days off, I'm like, you don't get it. Yeah. You don't understand. Exactly. I'm going to lose the momentum. I've been posting consistently daily since I've had these babies multiple times a day. Like I am on it, to my own horn. I just hit 70K on TikTok. Woo-woo. Go follow me if you haven't already. And so like, I'm like, okay, I've got this momentum. My views are there. My engagement is there. Like things are going really well, but I'm fried. Like it's so much work. But another tip though, is take advantage of the scheduling tool.
I was just about to say scheduling because that's huge.
I'm primarily focusing on creating and posting through TikTok. Then I take those and then I schedule it in Instagram and YouTube. You could also invest in scheduling tools that will allow you to post to TikTok. TikTok doesn't have it built into the platform itself,
sadly.
Like Instagram and YouTube.
I think it's a beta feature though. It's like coming. They claim they are.
But I don't have it yet. But that's something that you can do. You can also get all your videos like buttoned up so that you can just post them for the week. So then you're not on the app consuming as much, or you can just consume for whatever your set time is. I've thought about setting a timer of like, okay, I'll give myself 20 minutes of scroll time, but you gotta hold yourself. How did it work for you?
Not well.
Oh, okay. I haven't tried it yet.
I don't have a whole lot of discipline in that department, unfortunately. So much so that I have actually looked into another helpful advice option. The boxes that you lock your phone in.
Oh.
I have considered ordering that.
No self-control.
Yep. I have considered ordering that. That is a consideration I have made because that is how bad it is on my end.
No, for sure. You got to do whatever you got to do.
Because it's truly like, if I'm sitting there and I like am bored, my first thought is like, oh, I should be checking my client's page. Oh, I should be doing my Lyssa Slizzard stuff. Oh, I should be. So it's like, so like in the evenings, even just like sitting there watching TV.
Oh, like, that's the worst for me.
That's the worst.
I'm literally watching TV, trying to turn my brain off and relax. Yes. And what am I doing? I'm scrolling while my TV show is playing. And I'm not just scrolling. I'm literally brainstorming and I'm drafting and I'm like pinning this and like saving this audio, and I'm just like, then I catch myself and I'm like, stop it.
Logan gets so mad at me because I am a chronic TV rewinder.
Oh,
and so
that would be annoying if he's watching it with you.
Well, even if he's just like in the room and
he's already heard it,
and he's heard it like 6 times, because that's how bad I am sometimes.
You should just hit pause.
It's Love Island season right now also, and we are wrapping up, we promise. But it's Love Island season right now, and so even just last night, I was like watching something while watching Love Island, and I rewound like 6 times, and Logan was like, not again. No, not one more time. We're done.
He's like, I'll tell you what they said.
Yeah,
I know.
He was like, I have it memorized now.
I'll tell you word for word what they said.
Yeah. So timers, setting yourself, but have some self-discipline. Do better than I do.
Yeah.
Put your phone in a box if you really need it.
To your point, right? Finding another activity. Maybe it's like a coloring book while you're watching TV.
Yes.
Because I am a multitasker and I do thrive on like doing multiple things at the same time. And that's probably something I should do some soul searching on, and we'll circle back to that.
You and me both.
However, maybe a coloring book, right? Yeah. Instead of scrolling or your trinket thing, or like work on a puzzle or something that keeps your hands busy but isn't mind consuming. Maybe that would be a good option.
I know people during the pandemic got really into like the crocheting and stuff. Yeah. Like that could be a fun one. So I don't know. I for one have realized that I need a little bit more crafting in my life, like hands-on creating versus just like editing and stuff like that.
For sure.
I need that. So I think that can be very useful.
Sorry we don't have better advice though. But hopefully you're not alone. You know, we're in the trenches.
Validation.
Just as much as you.
No advice, but we're validating you that it's really hard.
Yes. But like I said, this could be like a good moment for us to be like, we should probably be better about that.
I need to be a lot better at that. So thank you for that reminder.
Another thing to work on. It's fine. It's fine. Well, thank you guys. I think we're good to wrap up if you had anything else to add.
Seems like the right time.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I said, 70K on TikTok. Go follow me over there. Neptune the Chameleon. You can check you out.
Lyssa's Lizards everywhere.
You can check out the podcast, the Wild Type Podcast. We do have a TikTok and Instagram. We do. So, of course, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review. Give us a rating. Drop us a comment. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will catch you guys next week.
Bye, girlies. Thank you.